Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District, episode 131. I'm Nathan Perry. That's the Stoner. And that empty box down here, which is this way, is going to be Trev when he comes in. We are all getting settled. Boing! Look at that. It's like Beetlejuice here. Trev's in the house. Got a lot of people already joining us. We got Gus Bus. I'm a stony girl in a stony world. Nicole is our biggest fan. Appreciate you in the chat. Doug as well. Tommy T. Wow. Clifton here as well. Love to have you in the chat. Make sure if you're in the chat that you let us know that you're here. As we do stream live every Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern on YouTube. We're also on Facebook and Twitter. You can catch us there. YouTube is where it's at, though. So make sure you hit that like button at YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We'd appreciate that. Of course, then we're on your favorite audio platforms afterwards as well. So in case you missed the live show and you want to catch us on the go and it's easier, you can catch us wherever your favorite podcasts are online as well. So the good show for you here on 131, Trev. We are going to be talking about lots of things, including the NFL Top 100 in the cool down. Training camp has officially begun. The offseason is pretty much done with. I know technically we're still kind of an off season, right? It's not the season, but realistically football is back and we could be more excited about that. Training camp back in the house. That's going to be our game subject for today. And then for your Don't Sleep Energy warm-up, it's new beginnings. Of course, head out to don'tsleepenergy.com. That's the DMV energy drink. So support local businesses. Don't Sleep Energy. Great team out there. Great energy drinks. Great logo. You can head out to don'tsleepenergy.com, make an order, get yourself 10% off your entire order by using the code REFTHEDISTRICT. Let us know if you've done that already. I'm told you can just substitute with another, whatever people do with the other energy drink with a little bit of a little fire water, and you're good to go right there. So make sure you try that out and responsibly, of course, over the weekend. Trev, you as a bartender, you would know nothing about that, right?
Not a clue as a bartender, not a clue.
Well, how about these new beginnings here for our man, Josh Harris? We welcome him in Thursday. He officially closes on Friday, but even Thursday, he was making a big splash. He did things like buy people a bunch of beverages who were out celebrating the sale of the team. He did things like 2 press conferences. He did one out there in Minneapolis after the sale of team, and then he came here to DC and he did another one. He's high-fiving fans, Trev. What do you make so far of Josh Harris's beginnings?
It feels like we're an NFL team again, I don't know what it feels like to have a competent owner that does this, because we've had Dan Snyder for my whole lifetime, which is about 36 years, at least I can remember for the most part. It's great to see him interacting with the fans. It's a great response from the fans. We're all ready. We're all ready for the title of the segment, New Beginnings. We're all ready for a fresh start. We're all ready for the way an NFL franchise is supposed to be ran. We're ready for it to be ran like that. So it's just great to see him high-fiving, big cheese on his face, local kid. So he's not just in it for the ego stroke. He's in it because it's part of his childhood. So it's just great to see, bro.
He's really been playing that aspect up over and over again, saying that he's, a DMV guy. He grew up. He was, looking at the suites from his seats and all this other stuff. Stoner, he did a couple things already. You thought that the first 2 round picks weren't going to be signed. They're signed right away. Not only that, but he also put bleachers out at Ashburn. Is that all right? What you're gonna?
I mean, the bleachers are out there, and it happened to coincide on the same weekend that
I don't think it was Josh Harris.
It wasn't Josh Harris, but that's cool. Let's give him his flowers for that, though, right?
Yeah,
he gets to go stand out there and say, "Look what I've done already," even though he never actually did that.
Sure,
but it is cool looking that's out there, and that it adds to what Trev was saying. It adds to the feel that we're a professional football team now. Mm-hmm. Everything that goes with that, all the stuff that Trev was talking about, then you add to it the bleachers that are out there, and you add to it just the whole ambiance of training camp, and it makes you feel like this is an NFL team, which hasn't happened in a long time.
No.
Yeah, Fair enough. Jason Wright does deserve some of that credit there for the bleachers. And I know there was a lot of things that they were trying to improve. There's improvements to FedEx as well. But I mean, hey, when you're the boss, you get all the credit now. And I think you're right. It did coincide, and there's just good feelings. And I think that everyone has a right to be excited. And I think one of the things that's really neat or interesting about this particular his start is everybody feels it. The players are feeling it. The coaches are feeling it. The fans are feeling it. The national media is feeling it. How many NFL analysts commented on the excitement around the sale? They said it's unprecedented. There has never been this much excitement around the sale of a team in the NFL.
Yeah, I'm excited about that part as well. There's definitely like a national respect that we're starting to get, which again hasn't happened in so many years. We've just always been kind of the redheaded stepchild of the NFL, more so kind of in the last 5 to 10 years. It's really been at its peak. But now that the sale has happened, and you can just kind of feel it from other people in the NFL, the national pundits, former players are starting to kind of pop up. All of a sudden you see them, they're popping into training camp or getting on the radio and television and telling their stories. People want to be associated with the Washington Commanders.
Yes, they do.
And we haven't said that in a long, long time. And it's not just Josh Harris. It has something to do with Mitchell Rales, and it has something to do with all of the owners, but it also has a lot to do with Mr. Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson just has that charisma,
Yes.
right? He has something about him that draws you to him, and he is a super successful businessman to boot. So you add all that together, and it feels good to feel good about Washington.
I was thinking about that Magic Johnson part earlier today, because you're right. He is very charismatic, and he makes you believe like he's one of us, right? He's not, but he's not a DMV person. He's also not one of us on the pay scale. This man posted a picture of him and his family at a yacht in Greece wearing Commanders gear. And that's actually what kind of tipped me to be like, man, he does such a good job, like just being personal, that like you forget that he is on an entire other stratosphere as far as, like I said, pay scales and life and living it up and everything. He is very successful. And I think that there's a lot. You're talked about Rails there. He has experience kind of turning around wayward franchises. You got Magic Johnson, who's just very good about being one of the people. And you got an experienced sports owner with Josh Harris, and who's smart enough to play up that DMV aspect right now. Like, hey, I watch these. I want this. This is more than just a business thing for me. It's personal. And I mean, we heard a lot of that with Dan the Fan Snyder. Now, I'm not going to say that name too many times because that is our past. And I want to focus on the future here. And yes, we are attributing things like the bleachers. We're attributing things to like some of the things like the signings. All these things were in place and going to happen already. But I think just the good information flow coming through Ashburn right now is just outstanding. Stoner, you had a list of things that you wanted Josh Harris to work on.
Yeah.
Remind our listeners what those things were.
Well, I think the biggest thing, excuse me, that I really wanted him to do, one of the first things, of course, he's got a list as long as a CVS receipt of what needs to be done. There's no doubt everybody knows the billion things that need to be done. But some of the first things are, the biggest thing I thought was that he has to do something financially that brings back a lot of the old heads, a lot of the folks that left the team over the last 10 years because of everything that was going wrong. And he has to do something that's significant financial wise. And I think one of the things, like I said last week, was if he did something cool, like how about everybody who drives up and has a license with either DC, Maryland, or Virginia gets to park for free for this season. That's $40 per game. That's a $300 type.
You can tell Stoner hasn't had to pay for parking at FedEx.
What is it, $60 a game?
Could be upwards
$80?
of 80. Yeah, there's parking gets it always I always laughed when it was like the gold seating comes with parking. Like, no, you tacked it on for an extra $400 or $500. Yeah.
No, but I mean like the outside there, the outside parking, whatever color that was. It's not the closest to the stadium.
Yeah, purple
but it's
lot, I think is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah. You get to park for free in the
green
purple
lot.
lots.
It's the furthest lot away. It doesn't matter.
Let's just say it's $40 or $60.
But I mean, he's already doing things, it seems like the small things, like the fact that he just bought, probably 1,000 people a beer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
That's a small thing. I mean, he's immediately trying to connect with people though. And that's one of your things that you wanted him to do was connect and win back this community. And he didn't have to do much. He just had to kind of show up and smile and just not be the other guy. But he's doing these small things, I think, that are doing there. I love, by the way, the people who are pointing out it's the Harris ownership group, Hog, as nice. Kind of nice little
like
tie-in to the franchise history. There, Commandalorian here with Harris ownership group will get us back on top where we should be. Number one valued franchise in all of sports. It wasn't too long ago. And they're still, after 23 years of mismanagement, still one of the top 10. So that says something about the power of the franchise.
Now they're probably number one. Just
because they're valued at $6 billion. Fair enough.
Right.
Fair enough.
So they're probably number one. But I think something that was also interesting, kind of just ties into this whole deal, is that when you look at attendance and percentage of the stadium filled, and if you go through, somebody has this list out there, you can just Google it and figure it out, but every team in the NFL is like at least 95% of capacity last year, except Washington, who wasn't even in the 90s. They were in the 87% fill, and that's being generous, if we're being honest. So it's just things like that a new owner that we have confidence in, a competent group of owners that's going to come in and change things like that, to where I promise you week 1 is definitely going to be a sellout. And they might have to remove those thingies out of the stands that covered up those seats.
The covered seats, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? To get more people in there. So it's just an overall, it's a great feeling about the team and the ownership group and the team on the field and the front. I mean, it's just I admit it. I have Ashburn syndrome, and I'm proud of it.
I mean, he came in and Andrew Norwell gets shipped off as soon as he gets, accepts the job. So he's already making moves on the field too for us. So I'm all for it.
There's a lot of people making moves on the field. In fact, today we heard a lot of good news coming out of training camp. We'll be talking about that here in the game. Stay with us.
The game is brought to you by Pacers Running Stores. Pacers has 5 stores in Northern Virginia and DC. For the best running footwear, apparel, and gear, just stop by or schedule a virtual fitting with the best running experts in the business. Pacers Running exists to help as many people as possible through running. For every run, it's Pacers Running.
Our man Tommy T had the same shoes that Josh Harris had in the previous picture of him high-fiving. Says Tommy's not gonna wear them, waiting for week 1. I have a pair of Burgundy and Gold KD 3s, I think is what they were way back when I got married. They were a wedding gift. You probably can't find any of those at Pacers Running, but our man Stoner did get the hookup, and they found a pair of Burgundy shoes for him. So I know if you head out to Pacers Running, you can find the right shoe to put yourself into, maybe something Burgundy, get those nice kicks, comfortable kicks for all the running around the house or the stadium that you'll be doing here as the season comes on. Pacers, they got you covered for every need that you want there for feet. Gentlemen, I have the picture of the bleachers. They look sharp. They look professional. It took far too long for Ashburn to have something like this. We've all been out to Ashburn, and experience just how miserable it is. And I think this will be a great thing for fans in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
Now, none of us were there today in those stands watching, but we did have quite a few people who were watching. Pete Haley was there as well. Josh Harris and Rails were part of the crew that was at the practice, and Harris apparently was going to address the team today. Stoner, what do you think about Harris showing up and meeting the players today at the opening of training camp?
Super important, right? You need to show your face. You need to go in there and you need to give them the same way he did with the employees last week. Mm-hmm. After the team, the ownership switched hands. He went and met with them, fired them up, told them, hey, look, we're going to do everything we can to take care of you as employees so that you can take care of this organization. Same thing with the team. So he goes out there, and I don't know if you saw any of the video of him walking out there. I mean, he had a strut, right? He had like that owner strut. Like he was for real. He was coming out there, and him and Rails were out there, and then they addressed the team later on in the day. That's an important thing to be able to talk to the players and basically say, hey, I'm your new owner. We're going to give you every possible opportunity to win, and we're going to get out of your way and let these coaches and these front office folks do it. That's a big deal when he goes out there and shows his face to the team.
Yeah, Trev, a lot of the players were pretty excited about him being there and the ownership change. Several of them making comments on it. What do you make of those players and their excitement with us on the new owner coming in and kind of showing that he is there?
Oh, it's Christmas in July, man. These players can finally get back to focusing on football on the field rather than off the field issues with all the ownership changes and rumors and everything that was going on. So just great to hear them finally get to express how they feel too, because during the whole dark cloud era, it kind of mumbles the word. Somebody might say something here or post a cryptic Instagram or tweet or whatever here and there, but now to finally let them have the chance to come out and share what they've been holding in for the past several months is really awesome to hear. And it's good that the ownership was at practice too. Like Stoner said, it's time to let them know, hey, we're not just here for money. We're here because we want to win. We want to be here. We want to do everything we can to help you guys win. And now you guys, it's pretty much saying, hey, we got this from here on out. You don't no longer have to worry about it. You just do your part on the field and we'll do ours off the field. So it's a great thing.
So Gus Bus saying it's the Vince McMahon walk, Mandalorian, the Conor McGregor strut.
Yeah, right.
Now I need somebody to put it to some entry music, right? Make it look like he's coming
no
in.
Chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
That would be pretty exciting. I think a lot of people also wanted to kind of impress the new boss and be there. And one of those things that was noticed today, Felix Trammell tweeted about this, and I don't think this is why they did it, but this is kind of a funny coincidence. But they got rid of the commander's name on the back of the jerseys. The last few years have been the commanders. Now they actually have the player names there. Is that the name tape thing for the boss so he knows who's who? Or is this an evolution, Stoner, of just where we're at as a franchise?
It's for me. I'm the guy that can't recognize all these players unless they got the name on the back or the number, and sometimes even with the number because they switch all the time now, right? Curtis Samuel switched, right? Did Bieniemy Brown switch? And a bunch of people switched, and I have to think, well, wait, who was that last year or this year? And then I look at there was, when the guys are coming in to the facility on yesterday and the first day, and they're in street clothes or whatever. And the guy's walking in and they're saying something or whatever. And I'm just sitting there going, and then it turns out, it's like one of my favorite players. It's Cam Curl. And I'm going,
Cam got a haircut recently.
But still, so I love that they have the names on the back. They had the 1 year of just saying, hey, we're going to, do this whole unity thing and we're all commanders and all that. But now it's got their name. But yeah, maybe it is for the owners. Maybe they said like, I don't know who anybody is, so I need everybody's name on the back. But, you recognize Chase, you recognize McLaurin, you recognize the main dudes. But, when Percy Butler comes walking in, then I'm just like, is that Percy Butler or is that is that
Juan Martin.
Wild Goose or something?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Stoner has a great history with this, where he went up to Kendall Fuller's guard.
Yeah,
And
his
was just like,
handler
hey,
or something?
his handler was just like, hey, can I get you on? He was like, yeah, I'm not Kendall Fuller, dude.
That was so embarrassing.
London Fletcher comes up, and I'm totally fanboying out and just like, oh my god, it's the captain, it's London Fletcher. We got to get him on. He was like, I don't know who this is. It's like, how do you not know who London Fletcher is? My man Stoner. Yeah, my man Stoner sent us a video he did, and he was just like, hey, I need to make sure I have all these people correctly because it was the Florida workout. And he was just like, I want to make sure I didn't misname us. And you got it, man. You got it all correct. I love that about our man Stoner. John in the chat as well saying he spends the first 2 weeks of the season asking his son, who is that?
Yeah.
So, yeah, the new numbers, that's different. I like the name tape change. I like having the players have their name on there. I joke that it's about Josh Harris, but I think that what they've been trying to build with the Commanders, right, in that mentality of like we're as one, is they've already instilled that. They don't need to continue hammering that home. And so now they have their names back. And I think that they've learned the lesson to play as a team. So I think that's a big thing for them to have those back there. So
yeah, and you know what I think they should do though? Like if they have a guy who comes in and gets signed, like a Michael Badgley, the kicker, and who was the other that they signed?
Byron Pringle.
Byron Pringle, right? I think they should come in with just Commanders on the back for like the first week or something.
They got to earn their last name.
You got to earn that last name on the back of your.
Hey, that's not too bad. I kind of like that idea.
Hey.
All right,
come up with them once in a while.
We know that the Commanders listen. Jason spends some of his driving time listening to us. So there's an idea, Jason. Pitch it to Ron. See if he likes it, and maybe you can move that on going forward there. I buried the lead. Okay, we've talked about Josh Harris. We've talked about jerseys. None of that is nearly as important as our man Sam Howell. All right, got to make sure I get the. Oh man, Stoner made me lower my music, so you can't barely hear the Howell.
Yeah, that's good there. Yeah,
there we go. So Sam Howell had himself. We got the board. Can we see the board? What do we?
Board?
Let's get this out of the way right now. Sam Howell, good day or bad day?
Sam Howell tracker.
The Sam Howell tracker, Stoner's Sam Howell tracker, July 26th, currently not marked good or bad. I want to hear in the comment section right now, if you're one of our people watching, make sure you hit that like button, but also get in the comment section. Did you think Sam Howell had a good day or a bad day? Bonus points if you tell us why.
Nice.
So I am going to start off here, and I am completely biased. I am a Howler. I think that he can be something special. I think he's going to have ups and downs, but I think he had a good day. I think the poise he had, not even talking about on the field stuff, which I think he had a good day there too, but off the field, this man handled himself so well during his press conference. This is a second-year player, a fifth-round rookie last year. He's getting the QB1 job, and he's just saying all the right things. During the press conference, when asked about all of this going on, he said, I really don't care what other people say. I know what I can do. That's what Howell thinks about these experts and him being a fifth rounder and all this other stuff. He's like, that's all noise. That's what you want your sophomore QB to be saying while he's throwing darts to Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson, right? Trev, before he gets to the board, good day or bad day?
Good day. Just based off of what he said in his press conference too, and everybody else is saying, his footwork is light years ahead of what it was at this time last year. And he felt like he took command, quote unquote, no pun intended, of the offense this summer. Did a lot of reading, a lot of studying. Went down to Florida with all the boys, did some workouts, and I guess it translated to the field because Riverboat said it feels like they picked up right where they left off from OTAs and minicamp. So according to all those reports, and like you said, his poise and his press conference, I'm saying he had a good day today.
Oh, we're not alone in here. A lot of people in the comment section. Tommy T, good, didn't throw an interception. Commandalorian, same, good, no picks. TJ, good. Nicole, good. Commandalorian, Sam, the franchise Howell. If that is true, that'd be great. Jared Taylor saying, I heard he did way good. Great day, says Steady Eddie. Good day, says Big E. Frankie P, a good day, very decisive and accurate. I like John's comment here also. There's a difference between confidence and cockiness.
Absolutely.
And I really felt he just exuded confidence. Right. He wasn't, he has a certain swagger to him.
Sure.
But it's not, he knows he still has to prove it, and he said as much, right? He knows that this is a big task ahead of him, and he knows that there's things that he has to do. But I mean, he also tells us this coming from, again, a guy who's lower of 20s, second year in the league, and he's like, I'm in total command of this offense, and I believe him.
I do too.
That's surprising that he would say, not that he would say that, but that he would even feel that he would be in total command of an offense that he just learned a couple months ago.
It's probably similar to the one he ran in Carolina with all the RPO stuff.
He said that too, Trev. Yeah. He said that he's loving all the RPO stuff that Bieniemy is putting in, because it's very familiar. There's a lot of similar concepts between that and what he ran in North Carolina. So Trev, you're spot on there as far as that. That's why he's just like, no, I got this. This is good. And you hear it from his teammates too, that he's doing it.
You know, all the verbiage is not the same, though.
Right.
I mean, the verbiage.
He said concepts. Yeah, he said
concepts are probably all the same. Yeah. But this whole board came about because over the years, when we watch training camp or we tune in to what all the beat reporters are saying, you can hear in what they're saying when somebody is not playing well. But they won't say that. They're not going to come out and just kind of kill a guy and say, Carson Wentz looked horrible today. I don't know what they're going to do. This season is doomed. They're not going to do that. But they'll say some things that you can pick up on. And you can say, okay, today was not a good day for Carson Wentz, as an example. So I like to keep track of good days, bad days, good days, bad days. So we're going to do that for every practice for Sam Howell this year. So taking everything that everybody's saying here and everything that we are reading and all of that, I got my two markers here, obviously the good day, and we got the bad day, and everything we heard today. I think I'm going to have to throw out the bad day. Today, July 26th, is a good day. Let's mark it was a good day for Sam Howell today. Big X right there.
I might have to. I'm surprised he's just not doing tally marks, but we'll live with the X's there. I'll have to figure out. Also, I'll find a new sound for the bad. I guess I could do the trombones, but no, it was a good day for him. Again, as people were saying, no interceptions. That wasn't the case for his backups. Linnell Willingham tweeting out that there was 4 interceptions by the defense today. 1 for Brissett and 3 for Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Good, yeah, as expected.
Yeah. I got no problem, but it is. I think that is valid. Look, Sam's going to throw 1 billion interceptions in camp this year. But if he doesn't throw interceptions during the course of a 90-minute practice, probably wasn't even that long, the amount of time they were out there running plays, maybe 60 minutes. But if he doesn't throw any interceptions, you got to mark that up as being a really good day. He executed the offense and didn't throw any interceptions. That's a good day. The other guys we don't really care about, but it is kind of nice to keep track of them as well.
I kind of feel like we don't have a QB1 battle anymore. I know it's the first day of training camp, but just the way with how everything's transpiring, with Sam saying over the offseason and taking the boys on to Florida, and then the first day, Jacoby Brissett, who was part of the Florida boys gang, throwing picks. I don't think it's a competition anymore. I think it was just smoke.
Wow, you're ready to declare after one practice. One practice, Trev, and you're in.
Stoner, I have to agree with them. So it sounded like there was at least a reasonable competition. I'm not saying that Sam Howell, you even know that this is geared towards Sam Howell.
Yes, of course.
Right. So during the mini camps and during OTAs and everything, you could hear how it was still kind of a battle.
Sure.
Right. Today, I don't know if it was Sam Howell's press conference or
Right.
just the picks or whatever, but it did not sound like a competition today. Today it sounded like Sam Howell's QB1, and for the first time I think this year they meant it.
Well, how come the coaches don't say that? I'm
'Cause
just curious. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I'm not advocating against Sam Howell's QB1. Why don't the coaches, i.e., who's the donkey in Frank Reich down in Carolina? He said Bryce Young is QB1. Let's just get that out of the way. And they still have never said that. They've always said he has the first shot at QB1.
Well, Bryce Young is also Bryce Young.
Okay, but I'm just asking, why doesn't this team do that?
Yeah.
Because
they want the competition, right? They do. I'm not saying that there's not still the veil of a competition, Stoner. What I'm saying is today seemed like the first day where they've danced around he's QB1. This day really felt like it was a Sam Howell day where it was just like, yeah, no, this is our QB1. And there was, again, we talked about Sam's confidence, but it felt like there was just a lot of confidence with people watching practice, people at practice, people coaching practice, that Sam Howell was it. I mean, you have Rivera, who was very pleased with practice. It was short, by the way, Stoner, about 90 minutes.
Right. But that includes like the warm-ups.
Yeah, that's the large process. I don't not surprised.
So here's my question. Here's my question though, Nathan. Is that when Ron was asked about the most important part of this training camp and this off season and getting ready for the season, and Ron says it's obvious, it's the quarterback position, and it's can Sam Howell show the growth and the development, and can Jacoby Brissett continue to do the thing? Why does he got to mention Jacoby Brissett? Why doesn't he say Sam Howell?
Because we signed him a contract that's.
I don't care if he's QB2. We don't care what he's doing.
Listen back to that, Stoner. If we have the audio, I'd love to pull it up again. But to me, because I did catch that clip, and to me, it absolutely, again, this is where I'm just talking about how this actually sounds like they're starting to believe Sam Howell's QB1, not this we're forced to start him type deal, or we're going to start him because we need to know what we got out of him. But he goes on and he talks about how, that Sam's development is going to be the key to the season. And this is what's important. And all he goes on about Sam. And then he's just like, oh yeah. And then like Jacoby Brissett, because he knows he has to tack something on because because there's the veil of the competition.
Yes.
It's a
why
farce.
does he need the veil of the competition? It's Sam Howell's. If he's your man, he's your man.
John says Brissett got him a really nice fruit basket. Okay. You got to say something nice about him if he brings you a fruit basket. So,
I'm just trying to play devil's advocate. I'm not trying to, stir up any controversy. I'm not trying to say Jacoby Brissett should have a chance or should be. I'm just saying that I don't understand why this coaching staff just doesn't go out there and just say, Sam is the guy. We're putting everything into Sam and giving him every opportunity to succeed. But he's our QB1. Jacoby's the backup. You got to get Jacoby ready just in case anything happens with Sam. Yeah. But Sam's the guy. And they just haven't done that. And that just baffles me a little bit.
Frankie pointing out there's history here. Ron came in. He gave the job to Dwayne Haskins.
That's because Dan told him to, but okay.
Okay. Fitzpatrick gets picked up and they give like he was going to be QB1. They really didn't have anything else behind him. Then they pick up Carson and they just give the job to Carson. Frankie saying Ron's learned the lesson. He's just like, let there be a mindset. And we have heard that from Ron Rivera when his QB of choice has failed. He's like, no, we have a competition and we need to, do this. So is there any way, and John pointing out this is just Ron's way of challenging players, is there any way, Stoner, for us to convince you, besides the fact that that this is a farce of a competition, that we're just going to continue going through with the competition and he's QB1 and they believe that, but they're just going through with the competition moniker?
Is there any way you guys are going to convince me?
Yeah.
I mean,
Is there
there's
any
no way you
convincing?
guys are going to convince me or anybody. The staff will convince me if they come out and say something like that. But they just never put all of their confidence and all of their backing to Sam Howell as QB1. That's if they would just say that, it would probably make me feel a little bit better about QB1 and their
Sam Howell.
confidence in him.
QB1.
Because right now, it just seems like they're always couching it just a little bit to say, yeah, we all want Sam to be number one.
Sure.
But we're not going to say that so that Jacoby will continue to work and maybe he can be number one.
Yeah.
Stop with all the nonsense. Just tell me Sam's QB1. And if you're not, I got to know why.
I'm going to give a prediction, Stoner.
Okay.
I don't think that they're going to solidify publicly the position until after the co-practices with the Baltimore Ravens.
Whoa.
Once they do that, once Sam Howell goes through that process and shows you that he is option number one, I think they'll come out and publicly say it. Until then, I think that we'll have this kind of song and dance of Sam is developing and we he's got the QB1 position for now, and Jacoby does good things and all this other stuff. But as soon as that Ravens practice, all that finishes up and Sam Howell's done everything he needs to, I think that's when we're going to get that public backing.
What if he doesn't? What if he doesn't do everything he's supposed to? Are they
still
still going to
QB1.
name him?
Yes.
Well, then just name him. If he doesn't have to do anything to prove it, if he goes to Baltimore and he doesn't do all those things that you want him to do, then why wait till then? Why do you just do it? Let's just get all this nonsense.
My man
out of the
Stoner
way.
went into another octave there, Trev. He went into an entirely different. All right, Sam Howell, great day. We love to see it. We're going to be seeing more. We'll see what it is. I'm not even really going to touch on the Netflix thing here, but there was some hoopla because you know who on X tweeted.
I think it's still called Twitter.
It's Twitter,
but it's
a whole shenanigans. I'm not even going to get into it. But Howell was asked about it. He says he wants to pass. Moving on, we're going to pass on that topic as well. Sam Howell wasn't the only big name in practice today. Our man Chase Young, Trev, showed back up and looked ready to roll and didn't practice with a knee brace. What do you make of Chase Young and his return to physical form?
Super freak, bro. I honestly think that not picking up the fifth-year option for him is extra fuel and extra motivation for him to go stronger, go harder, and get back to where he was when we drafted him number 2 overall. I know they're just hype videos. I know it's, just his walkouts and they can only see certain clips, but that man looks like he is in tip-top shape. No knee brace, bro. That's Adrian Peterson style. Like that's other than Adrian Peterson, no one's come back from a torn ACL, a blown out knee like that. What, Stoner?
What? What? I was looking at something.
What, Stoner?
Okay. He should be without a knee brace. It's been 2 years almost. So that's all I'm saying. Adrian Peterson did it in less than a year. It's taken him 2 years to finally shed the brace and be fully healthy. Good Lord, it took forever. But cool. Hope he balls out. And
anyways, Nathan, like I was saying,
there's our Debbie Downer.
Hey, I wasn't gonna say anything. Trev prompted me. I had to say.
I'm hyped. I'm seeing 5 or 6 more sacks, nothing less than that this year. Just a good sign to see that he's back and interested and ready to get back on the field and help his teammates win. So I'm ready. He is. Yeah.
It is nice to see him without the
yes.
Knees. And he looks fully healthy. He looks totally in shape. He looks motivated.
Yes.
It's everything that you can ask for. He had the brace back in OTAs, which wasn't that long ago, about a couple months ago, and he's not wearing it today. That's all nothing but positive. It's nothing but positive signs.
So see, him missing OTAs that were voluntary
Right.
to get his mind and body right is paying off right now, as you see on the first day of training camp. So proud of you, Chase. I'm glad you stuck with your workout.
Trev digging up that old argument there. It's not just the like people might remember seeing pictures like that brace was a whole mechanical thing going on there. So it wasn't like a little sleeve that he had over his leg, although we've seen some of the workout videos where he was wearing a sleeve, but like his brace was a whole contraption. So it's really nice because he's got this athleticism for him to shed that and kind of be there. He's always looked the part. He's always looked phenomenal. He's always been a great teammate and very friendly. He's this bigger than life personality. Mm-hmm. Now we hopefully get to see this translate with a defense that has been ranked so highly, and there's stats coming out all out the woodworks about how just great this defense was last year. And now they add a couple more picks. Now they're getting a healthy Chase Young back, and it's going to be exciting to see where we land and what impact we have there on defense. Hopefully we'll have our man Deron Payne, as the team announced that Deron Payne did not practice due to a minor toe injury. Mm-hmm. Trev, any alarm bells going off?
A small, tiny one, because toe injuries, as minor as they are very tedious and particular. So it can start off as minor, it can end up being turf toe, which will hold people out for a long time too. So there is a tiny alarm, but since they're coming out saying very minor, maybe it's just a ingrown toenail or, just he tweaked it or something. But yeah, a small alarm is definitely going off. Definitely.
Stoner, any alarms for you?
No, don't get mad at me because you think I'm jinxing or whatever, but there really hasn't been any injury issues with the team coming in. When you see it with all these other teams and guys are getting hurt in non-contact, they're getting hurt in OTAs, they're getting hit on.
I know you prefaced it by saying you're not jinxing it, but you're jinxing it.
You told me I jinxed it with Terry McLaurin.
We're booing him.
You told me I jinxed it with Terry McLaurin 2 years ago and last year, and it didn't jinx.
He's got time. It doesn't necessarily have to mean.
So something I say 3 years ago, if something bad happens,
it will be blamed on you, Stoner. Yes. It will be blamed on you. Armani Rogers says hi. Tommy,
he's a fifth string tight end. Okay, that's what I mean by we haven't had any major issues.
Nah, you're right.
With injuries,
sure,
with holdouts, with with contract disputes,
which you thought there might have been by the time training camp got here, but they got done.
Right. So again, it's very drama free. Everyone's jumping on this bandwagon because everything seems to be going well. And of course it all comes down to one Sam Howell and how he plays. But it does seem that way, that everything seems to be there's nothing that we're looking at that we're worried about for this year in terms of all that outside distraction, which is great, which you don't have to worry about. Guys holding out. Dallas has that issue, right? The Giants were dealing with it with Saquon and
Josh Jacobs.
Guys who are hurt, who got hurt in the offseason, all that. We haven't had to deal with any of that so far. So that's great. So, but that was the long-winded answer of, no, I'm not worried about a minor toe injury on July 26th when the season starts in mid-September. So no, I'm not worried about it.
That's fair.
6 weeks away.
Tommy T saying fifth string tight end playing like a second street tight end last year. He actually had as many catches as our fourth string wide receiver. So, I mean, there's some impact there. And of course he had a couple of those rushes as well. 2 rushes.
He's very promising. He's a very promising player, but he's not impactful at all.
No disagreement there, Stoner. Yeah. There are some people who are going to make an impact, and you talked about the bandwagon. Ron Rivera is starting to go a little choo-choo on the Sadiq Charles left guard bandwagon. Are you a believer, Trev, of Sadiq Charles getting those reps out at left guard?
Yeah, a small one. I mean, he's kind of stuck it out all of his his whole career here, going out with a blown knee in his first year, and then pretty much getting benched and replaced last year. Now he gets another chance to showcase what he's about, because I know it was a while ago, but he was Joe Burrow's left-hand guy back there in LSU. They won the championship, and we brought him here for that reason. It just sucks that he started off on the injury list and has kind of built his way back up. But it's kind of good, because this is what you want, right? You want these guys that you pick later in the rounds to start their development level to reach where it is now. Like the first year, expectations, like whatever. Second year, show some progress. This year, third, fourth year, like he's getting a chance to showcase what he can do after all those years of being hurt and getting his body right and getting developed more. So I think it's a great opportunity for him. And I'm pretty high on it, because he was Joe Burrow's left-hand guy in college. So we'll see if we can do it, if it translates.
Yeah, the talent's been there. And I mean, I remember him being projected in the first round. He fell down to the fourth, similar to Sam Howell, the QB he would now be protecting. Stoner, that might mean that there's kind of a reason for both. Now, injuries really played a part here in Sadiq Charles' early career, and they've kind of the team's talked about how that's it, right? Like, he's got the talent, he just needs to stay healthy, and we'll see. Him at left guard is a little bit of a change, as he's kind of bounced around and tried the tackle positions. Do you like Sadiq Charles at the left guard? I know you're a Chris Paul guy.
I am. I'm a Chris Paul guy, but that's based off of one game. And just like Sam Howell, you can't judge a guy based on one game. He had a very good Dallas game, but we weren't there watching him practice every single day like the coaches were.
Yeah.
But Sadiq Charles is a very intriguing prospect. As you say, he should have been could have been a first rounder, fell all the way to the fourth, has done really nothing other than be a depth piece and come in at certain times. But I thought it was very interesting in Ron's pre-camp presser, which was yesterday, when he was asked generically about the offensive line. He mentioned Sadiq Charles twice in two different questions that were asked of him on basic offensive line questions. Nobody asked him about Sadiq Charles.
Right.
But Ron brought up Sadiq Charles and talked about how he has this great opportunity to take over that left guard position. These are the kinds of things that I was talking about when you just kind of you parse words and sentences out of guys to kind of hear what they're saying, even though they're not really saying it. And that to me said that they think Sadiq Charles is going to be their left guard. And they're really hoping that he just grabs it in camp this year. Because, I mean, otherwise, why didn't he mention Chris Paul? Or why didn't he mention Brandon Jacobs, the rookie fifth rounder? What? I think that's his name. Brandon Dawkins? Brandon
I think you got it right the first
Jacobs?
Jacobs?
Brandon Jacobs reminds me of a running back or something.
Now you're going to make
It was Brandon Jacobs from the Giants.
Yeah. Is it Brandon? I can't even remember. Brandon Hawkins?
Braden Daniels.
Braden Daniels. I was way off. I feel like Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
Samsonite.
Yes, Samsonite.
It was way off. Braden Daniels. He didn't mention any of those guys, but he specifically mentioned Sadiq Charles. So I think he's got a great shot to solidify that spot. And by the way, this is his fourth year, right? You even talked about it. Fourth year. His birthday's today. He's 24.
Yeah, he's a young guy.
He's not like, it's not like he's 27, 28, 29 or whatever.
Right. So
he's 24. So all that development, you could totally be right that he's just now kind of getting it and realizing what it takes, and hopefully he does take over that left guard spot.
Yeah, John is not a believer, saying as Sadiq is French for turnstile. That's a pretty good one. And then we got is a pessimistic. One of our normal pessimists in here saying, "Hit that like button. I'm late, but I'm fired up about the season. Let's go." If you can convince Roger here to get fired up about the season, I think good things are coming.
Hold on, that's Roger?
That's Roger. He changed his name a couple of weeks back.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yes, if Roger can be excited, if we can get Roger and Gregory both, I think we might have to put money down on winning the Super Bowl. We might have to do that if we can get both of them on the hype train here. Both very much realists. We appreciate both of you. And yes, do listen. Hit that like button. for us while you're out there and watching the show. There's lots of things to like. I like and love hearing Antonio Gibson talk about in his press conference about the role he's going to play in this offense, because I think he's going to get unleashed here. Gibby saying he feels his role this year is more of a third down back role like JD McKissick was in years past. And you know how much we all loved and hyped up some JD McKissick.
Mm-hmm.
How hype are you, Stoner, about Gibby in this third down role?
Let me turn the tables on you, Nathan, because you are a Gibson guy. Are you not surprised that Gibson said that he believes his role is as a third down back like JD McKissick, rather than an every down back like he has been his first 3 years?
I think it's in line with what we have been hearing from him this year, right? Like we've heard this year, we talked about it during one of the Daily Commanders updates, where his mindset last year was he's the bell cow back, he's a running back, he's going to take that. To this year, he's like, get me in space, let me do damage. And I think a lot of it comes in the fact that this is another player who realizes he is coming up on a contract year.
Mm-hmm.
Running back market is abysmal. No one's paying the top running backs in the game right now. And Antonio Gibson needs to find his niche. And JD McKissick found his niche and was signed and kept around. And these are the things that I think that he's playing in his head. He doesn't need to be a bell cow back that's going to get 230 carries. He wants to get touches and he wants to be explosive off those touches.
Mm-hmm.
And if he puts together a season like JD McKissick did his first year, where he attempts 85 rushes and catches 80 balls, I think we're going to see a very successful Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I would like to see him be an every down back just because of his explosiveness. But I was kind of surprised. Look, there is value to being a third down back, but there's also, that means you're not on the field as much, because you're only on there on third downs, and you're not necessarily there. If it's 3rd and 1, you might not even be in there because you're still going to have like a B-Rob trying to push the pile. Mm-hmm. So I was a little bit surprised that he said that, but I don't have any problem with it either.
All right. How about you there, Trev? And then we'll get to our Frank's super chat.
I'm gonna put a little spice on it and say This is smoke code talk, saying this is your last chance of producing, or else you gone next year. Because, like Nathan said, you went from being a bell cow, and now you're a third down, end of half, end of game situation type player. Which means we're only going to call on you if it's like 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, or we got to get down and score a field goal before the half, or we got to get down and score a field goal or a touchdown to win the game. That's cool because you have your own specialty role, but to go from a starting running back now down to a third down back, end of game, end of half situation player, that's me. To me, that's them saying, look, we tried you at running back 1. You're great, but B-Rob is good. And we got that Rodriguez guy now, too. That could probably be every down back. Maybe. Second, we don't have a pass-catching running back. We don't want to make B-Rob be it all around like the bell cow and the pass-catching running back. So you're going to do that. That way, like you said, Nathan, he can get out in space and create plays, explosive plays as a slot receiver that he was in college back in Memphis. But I also think this is a little bit of a preview of the writings on the wall for Gibby, because we've seen B-Rob do that. And the reports coming out saying he's done a lot more pass catching this offseason than he did last offseason, so that's a plus. But I do think that this is Gibby's last chance to be somebody of value in the offense.
Yeah, I'm under no – I understand that Gibby is not going to be with Washington next season.
Right.
There's just not a scenario in my head that plays out that he sticks around. Right?
Even if he has a big year.
If he has a big year, he's definitely not staying with. If he has a stinky year, he's not. They're not going to keep him. There's like this weird middle ground where he has to be just good enough, but not too good to stay. Because if he has a fantastic year, he's just, they're going to move on from him because somebody else is going to pay him some good money to do that. Because that's how the running back market is.
Sure.
But you don't want him to have a bad year, because if he has a bad year, then you're just not going to really, want to keep him around. I mean, if he has a Clyde Edwards-Helaire year where 71 rushes, 300 yards, okay. But then receiving wise, only 17 catches. Like, you're like, oh, what am I really doing here? Now, is a Jerick McKinnon type year where 72 rushes for 91 yards, but 70 or 56 catches for 512 yards, is that good enough? Or are you shopping around after that? So
that's a pedestrian type.
It is. It's
stats.
just okay. That's why I thought that 80 rushes for 365 was J.D. McKissick's first year here with us. 4.3 clip. Again, just okay. But then 80 catches for 589 yards. Not a lot as far as the yardage is concerned, but at least a reliable target out of the backfield. And I hear what you're saying, Trev. You're seeing a lot of B-Rob starting to catch, which I love. And I think that's a great move, because anytime you saw B-Rob or Williams out there, you're like, okay, it's going to be running, or they're going to do a play action, right? But the running back isn't an actual threat. With Gibby out there, it was pretty much always like, okay, this is either going to be a failed run up the middle, or it's going to be this awful screen because Scott Turner couldn't scheme up a proper and they couldn't execute one last year, or he might be, like I said, a pass catching back there. But it was just like, it was so obvious what they could do. And I think that this group here, and we had Code Talker asking here, which running back fits into the scheme better. I think you're going to see a lot of what EB did in Kansas City, where you have Isaiah Pacheco, who is B-Rob, who's going to get the bulk of the carries as far as rushing, still be, they're going to try to fit in a couple receiving things here. There's only 14 targets for Isaiah last year. But then you're going to have the McKinnon role that is going to be Gibby's to win or lose or kind of explode into. But I think that he has that potential to explode. Stoner, do you think this along those same lines, or are you thinking differently?
No, I think that's exactly right. I think that's what Bieniemy's specialty is, supposed to be his specialty, is understanding what each of these guys can do and then taking advantage of that. We all know Pacheco was a 6th or 7th rounder.
7th rounder, yeah.
He was a 7th rounder, right? And McKinnon, he was like a receiver at some point, I think. Yeah. I don't know. He's just a versatile. He's like Gibson.
Yeah.
And B-Rob is like Pacheco, like you said. And if he can design the proper offense to get these guys to do what they do best, then he's definitely going to do that. And so it could be that he's not necessarily a J.D. McKissick where he just comes in on third downs, but he's the type of back like J.D. McKissick, which is a screen guy, bubble screen guy, a regular screen guy, a dump it out to the guy out in the flat type guy. Then I think he can take advantage of those talents and it'll really help.
Yeah, got to use the speed that this team has. Also, Frank Wright here with the super chat, $5. Thank you. That was a little pathetic. We're gonna. There we go. That's a little bit better. Frank Wright here, $5 super chat. We appreciate you, Frank, for jumping in there and supporting the channel. Of course, everyone can support just by hitting that like button. But if you want to give us money, that also goes a long way to make sure that we're outfitted properly here. Frank saying Armani Rogers is better than Thomas. It's Rogers, Turner, then Thomas. Is Frank EP's burner account? Right? Because that sounds like EP right there. She is not on the Logan Thomas train. Logan Thomas also without the brace today, gentlemen. So kind of also a big step for him coming back.
Yes, sir.
I'm with Frank in the fact that I'm not a huge Logan Thomas believer. I have not ever been big on the Logan. I think that he is decent. but I call him decidedly mediocre. He's like the poster boy for it. He's like your 15th best tight end, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
It's just like people hype him up
special.
like he's one of the top 3 tight ends, and that's just not the case here. Armani Rogers, I think, showed us those flashes, but he never put it together. And Cole Turner, I would not put Cole Turner right this second above Logan Thomas. Would either one of you?
No, I would not put either of those guys above Logan Thomas.
No,
they have the potential.
Yeah, sure.
They have
the promising.
Right. They have the promise, but right now, Logan Thomas did more in practice today than Cole Turner and Armani Rogers have done in their entire career combined.
True.
You know what I mean? Logan Thomas is an established veteran who is good at what he does. Cole Turner had 6 catches last year, whatever it was. Yeah. Armani Rogers had like 5 or 4.
Yeah, 5 catches, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They haven't done it yet. Do they have the potential to be better than Logan Thomas? Both of them do. They're younger, they have better skills, but they haven't done anything yet.
John Bates should be on the list. He's not even mentioned, which is
I love me some John Bates, but he
is not a guard.
Yeah, he's an extended tackle. But he's honestly, I think Bates has some soft hands, and he's not bad. He's definitely the Wish or dollar store version of some better tight ends.
Sleeping on John Bates, he's gonna lead all tight ends this season.
I love John Bates. I love him, but he's definitely on the slower end of things. I think Logan Thomas with a knee brace is still faster than John Bates. And
how many times were we screaming at Scott Turner when he would throw a screen to John Bates? What do you do? You're throwing a screen to the slowest guy on the team. What are we doing?
Caught it.
He caught it, and then he
had no blockers.
Yard and a half. And then everybody caught up to him.
Tommy T is a Thomas fan. TJ as well, saying he likes Logan. He's just older. Steady Eddie agreeing with you, Trev. Bates above Logan. Overall, I would probably put Bates above Logan, but that's also because I just value Bates as a blocker so much. And I think that he's an effective pass catcher. Cole Turner, by the way, with 2 catches last year. But
2 catches. And probably less blocks. I saw him in the Dallas game.
Yeah, he's not a blocker. He is not a blocker. Bates last year with 14 receptions on 108 yards. 20 last year. Yeah, he's not a pass catcher. He's much more of a blocker, but I do appreciate the blocking that he get in there. Frank Wright, if they had a more detailed role, we would be having a different conversation. That's fair. We'll see. They haven't. We'll see how this year goes. Of course, Armani Rogers is going to miss this year with his injury, which is a shame. I wanted to see more from him, and I think that he would have been dynamic. Healthy Logan, though, that might be something for Washington to watch out. This is a 6'5", guy who could be a great potential option for Washington. That was day 1 of training camp.
Oh man, we got like 25 more of these or something like that. That's
so
awesome.
Exciting.
Can you believe we're here? Back. Can you believe that whole off season is gone?
Yep.
To me, this was one of the faster moving off seasons than I can remember, because usually we're just kind of sitting around waiting for camp. And now it's here. I can't believe it's here already.
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked that all of a sudden we're here and we're playing football, and I think the Hall of Fame game is like next weekend.
It's
not
coming
this weekend,
up.
but it's next weekend.
It's coming up pretty close.
Man, we got preseason. This is the last weekend, I believe, without football until like February, sometime in February.
Someone needs to. Where's Gus Bus with the fact check? That's
that you can try me, Gus. That's a fact. Next weekend is the Hall of Fame game, and then preseason starts after that.
I need someone to do this. Fact check him for me real quick. Trout saying the offseason went by way too fast. I don't know if I agree that it's way too fast, because I want football to happen. I do think there's a lot of things in this offseason that kind of helped. there was the sale of the team. There was XFL, USFL. Even if you didn't watch it, there's at least football content.
Right.
And then, I think that might be why it kind of felt a little bit quicker. We'll see if hopefully next year, the off season's a little bit shorter.
Because we're playing a little bit longer.
Yeah, hopefully that's the case. If we're going to play a little bit longer, we're going to be relying on some of the star talent we have here in DC. One of those cracking the NFL top 100. That's our topic here in the cool down. So stick with us.
The Cool Down is brought to you by Manscaped. Ever since my Nathan started using their products, I can't cool down. Fellas, trust me. Go to Manscaped right now and get 20% off and free shipping by using the code REF. Your ladies will appreciate you. Now back to Trev, Stoner, and my Manscaped man, Nathan.
Viewers will notice that the beard is a little bit more tamed today. The beard trimmer from Manscaped came in, and I highly recommend it. It will grow back. I did shave it down a little bit, but that's not just because EP asked me to, because she was just like, it's too long. It was a little
out of control.
It was a little out of control, but it's also because I just didn't have the right tools to tame it. And Manscaped provided me those tools. So I started fresh. I got it down a little trim here. And now I have a beard balm to help sculpt it. I have conditioner to help keep it soft. I have a beard oil. I have a beard shampoo. These are things I was missing in my life. And now I have them. So now as the beard grows out, it'll be a little bit more uniform. It'll be a little bit better. And maybe EP will allow me to keep the beard a little bit longer. But I mean, you guys are right. I looked like I came out of a darkness, a wilderness escape thing.
Yeah.
And that was not the case. I stay in the light, but now it's trimmed, and you can do the same by heading out to manscaped.com, using the code REF. Get yourself 20% off and free shipping. That's R as in ref, E as in F, and F as in F. 20% off, free shipping there at manscaped.com. Beard trimmer, get that kit. It wasn't too bad. Got here pretty quick and did a great job shaving me. Super sharp. All right. Moving on, another sharp individual is Terry McLaurin, the first Washington player in the NFL top 100, cracking the list at 94, Trev. He, on Madden, was the top-rated NFC East receiver. NFL 100 is voted on by the players. That's important to note. Not a computer game. So where do you feel his talents lie? Are 94 accurate? Is that an accurate placement in the NFL top 100?
Yeah, because it's 100 players in the NFL, all positions. Terry's a stud. He's been a stud since he's came to us a few years ago. But if somebody from our team has to crack it, it would be Terry. He's done it personally, 1,000-yard receiving season since he's been here with 20 different quarterbacks. That's got to account for something. He's our best receiver. He's probably the best receiver, or one of them in the NFC in our division. Our division's been kind of poopy the last few years, so that's probably why he's rated so low in the 100, because also we don't win games. We just stay middle of the pack or below. We're never 10 and up or advance in the postseason. Our season always ends when everyone else's doesn't make it. So, like I said, if you have to pick someone from our squad, it would be Terry McLaurin, just based off he's our best player on our squad of a losing team and all that. So yeah, 94 is a great spot because, like I said, 100 players. That's a lot of players, bro.
Yeah, it is a lot of players. This is Terry's first time in the NFL 100, top 100. And I think it's a little overdue, but it kind of coincides with him starting to finally get, his just dues, his flowers, as people say. Stoner, you're still saying Terry McLaurin is behind some others in the NFC East, but we know that you love Terry. Do you think this is appropriate for Terry's first time in the NFL top 100, or should he be a little bit higher because it's long overdue?
I think it's because it's long overdue. It's not like all of a sudden he had a breakout year last year. He's been
Right.
doing the same thing for 3-4 years now. So I don't know what's taken everybody so long to kind of finally understand what he's capable of. But I get it. You can't just come in out of nowhere and have the same consistent year and then all of a sudden debut at number 50. But it's going to be interesting to see because of the way the NFL releases the top 100. They don't just give you all 100. They start at the
they
first
do 10
10 and
chunks,
the next
yeah.
10. And, it's smart, do that content, let it go throughout the entire preseason and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see where those other NFC East receivers are, where he was ahead of them in the ESPN list. But on this list, he's probably going to end up being behind them. But 94 is a good spot. Last year, who was number 94? Justin Tucker, the kicker for the Ravens, was 94 last year. And let's not forget, I was going to interrupt you, Trev, but I didn't. In that I also don't think he's the best player on this team. I think Jonathan Allen is the best player on this team, and Jonathan Allen was on the list last year in the 80s. 80.
That's debatable.
He was 88 last year, so he didn't come up in that first 10, and he was 88 last year, and he had an all-pro year. So he's going to be higher than.
Don't we normally know how many players from each team are going to be on there? Don't we? Shouldn't we? No. I thought it leaked early last year. We knew that we had X amount of players. What I do disagree with you, Stoner. If you're going to disagree with Trev, I'm going to disagree with you. So that way, now, Trev, you got to disagree with me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay.
But the reason why I disagree with you, Stoner, is you're talking about this is his debut, and 94 for his debut feels fine. Micah Parsons debuted at like 16, and
but he exploded.
Chase Young debuted, I think, at 66.
Mm-hmm.
So like defensive rookie of the year,
right,
But like you said, there's been a consistency here now. Right. Terry did finish top 10 receiving yards on the year last year. And I think that's part reason why is just because even though he's consistently given that, I mean, it was the most yardage he had in his career, but not by much. He had 1,118 his sophomore year, 1,191 for people's reference. So only about 80 yards difference or 70 some odd yards difference there between those two. The only year he has not had 1,000 yards receiving, by the way, was his rookie year, where he only played 14 games and he finished just 81 yards shy of 1,000 there. And that was a year, by the way, that he had 15.8 yard average per catch, 15.5 this year. So you're right. He's just been consistent. And so I think it's just taken so long. And I think people are still kind of sleeping on him. Kevin saying Terry is consistently underrated, top 3. If he had an NFL QB thrown to him his career, he'd get his due. If Sam Howell turns out to be the guy, this might be where, this year he might be 94. Next year we might be seeing him in the 40s or higher, because then he will be getting, some of these Stephon Diggs or AJ Browns who had more receiving yards than him. Jalen Waddle. As another one there. So if he gets like 1,300 something yards, I think you're going to see a huge jump from Terry. I do think that 94, the way these lists are going, I think that makes sense. I'm glad that Justin Tucker. If Justin Tucker saw on the list, I'm not going to hate on it because Justin Tucker is one heck of a
greatest kicker in history.
Yeah, but Terry McLaurin should be rated higher than a kicker. Should be.
Well,
we'll see how that goes.
But it is also interesting, I think, that we have guys on the top 100 list. We went years without guys being on the top.
Well, Brandon Sheriff was like our only one for a few years there, right? He was in the 90s. And he was a right guard, and you're like, okay, this is the best player on our team. And it's not nothing wrong with Brandon Sheriff, but it's not like Trent Williams. Right, where it's just like a left tackle could be one of the most dominant players on the field. We're talking about a right guard, and so it's just kind of disappointing. You're right. So it is good just that we have players that are on the top 100.
Yeah, and there are chances. There's a chance that there are other guys besides Jonathan Allen on this list this year and next year. Daron Payne may be on that list this year. He could possibly be in the 80s. Who knows? But in years coming forward, let's be realistic about it. There could be Chase Young could be on the list. Montez Sweat possibly be on the list.
Cam Curl.
I don't think he's quite to that level.
Roger is saying Cam Curl's the best player on the team, by far the most impactful player.
And Jahan Dotson really has an opportunity to bust into that list. But we went
Devontae
years.
Smith at 100. Dotson absolutely could kind of climb into that role there if Devontae Smith is there.
Yep, it is nice to finally have guys on that list, possibly be on that list as well. We just haven't had that for the longest time. It was Brandon Sheriff maybe in the 90s, and that was it. And that was absolutely it.
I have a question that I'm going to pose to you guys, but first I want to pose it to our listeners right now, and then I'll get to all the answers here.
Mm-hmm.
Who else should be on this top 100 list that we should see from Washington? If Terry's 94, I want you to keep it realistic here.
Mm-hmm.
So let me know in the comment section, who do you think is still to come on this list and where should we see them? Our guys are going to answer that here in a little bit. Trout saying Terry McLaurin should have been on the top 100 list at least 2 lists ago. Uptown Dre saying 94th. What are we talking about?
Mm-hmm.
That's extremely low. But gentlemen, Jonathan Allen, obviously we're thinking he's going to be on the list.
Yeah.
Trev, where would Jonathan Allen and who else? Is Deron Payne going to make this list? Obviously, we've gone through 90 through 100. So you got to go from 80 to 89, maybe potentially for Deron Payne or Jonathan Allen. Or are we talking even further up the list here?
I'm saying between 89 and 80 for Jonathan Allen, just because Washington still doesn't get the respect it should right now. I think that's also because we don't win like we should win with all these. I mean, 4 first rounders as a defensive front, we should be winning games. With that being Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, 2 of the 4. So just because of the no respect level that we've been getting, I'm going to say 89 through 80. And if not Jonathan Allen, go ahead and put Tress Way on there. He's been one of the most consistent punters, seriously, in the NFL in the past, 4 or 5 years.
I have a Tressway jersey. You know that I'm a big Tress guy.
If Justin Tucker can get on there at 94 last year, then Tressway can get on there at like 98 or 96 or something. I don't know. But yeah, definitely Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. But outside of those 2, I'll go ahead and say Tressway.
All right. So you have 3, all of them kind of in that 80 to 89 range. No one above 80.
We don't get no respect. So
no, I don't think there's going to be anybody other than Jonathan Allen on this year's list, and I don't think he's going to be in the 80s either. I think he's going to move into the 70s. He's everywhere he's ranked for interior defensive linemen. He's top 3 in the entire NFL, maybe top 4, whatever. But if you're top 4 at your position in the entire NFL, then you're going to be in the top 75 players in the entire. I mean, Deron Payne's not quite there yet. He's a Pro Bowler, yes. Is he all pro? No. So he's not quite to that position. Everyone on here is pretty close to being all pro level.
Yeah.
And Deron's not quite there yet. He could get there.
He could.
Probably Jonathan Allen, and I'm going to say somewhere around 78. There's my guess.
I think we will see Deron Payne on here. I think 10 sacks, 10 and a half sacks as a defensive tackle. Plus the recent payday, I think we're going to see him, get some of that. You got to also think this defense was one of the better defenses in the league, and that's not just stat wise. That's the players know that they know, and we saw this with Cousins in the Netflix quarterback where he felt that Deron Payne hit. So I do think I do think that we're going to see Deron Payne. I do think that it's going to come at like 89. If he's much lower than that, I'd be surprised. I think that, again, first year on the list, a large part of that's coming off the 10 and a half sacks. And then we should see Jonathan Allen in the 70s. I like, where Luke here puts Deron Payne at 85 and Jonathan Allen at 73. Kevin has Allen in the 60s, Payne in the 70s. I think 70s is going to be too high for Deron Payne. I think that one's going to be good there. So we'll see. Roger saying Jonathan Allen 63, Cam Curl around 80. I just don't see Cam Curl being on here, and then Deron Payne 75. Be interesting.
What's wrong, Stoner?
Doug saying Payne won't be there.
I'm looking on Wikipedia. Now, it's Wikipedia. Okay. So they are saying that the list has been released all the way down to 71. And they even have like which dates everything is being released. Like tomorrow is going to be 70 through 61. And then the next day, 60 through 51, so on. So they have the list all the way down to 71.
Oh.
And there are no other commanders so far other than Terry McLaurin at 94.
So maybe Jonathan Allen gets higher or not at all.
Right. So probably higher. I think he's
be
not
higher
off the top 100 list.
Could you imagine having a top 5 defense by almost all metrics and not having one single top 100 player? How would Jack Del Rio not like get a head coaching job just based off of that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no joke.
Like I understand that he has a history as a head coach, and nobody wants to roll the dice on a guy who is a retread who didn't have a very successful time out there. But I mean, that's a coaching kind of standard that like you should be like, all right, let's try it, at least for a wayward year, see if he can get there. But that's just absolutely insane there.
Number 71 is a defensive tackle. It's DeForest Buckner from the Colts.
I mean, he's nice.
And then there's
one.
Christian Wilkins from the Dolphins is at nice 81.
Okay.
So
that means Jonathan Allen should get up to like 61.
Yeah.
If that is accurate.
Accurate,
Deron Payne won't be on the list. No, I don't think there's no way they're putting him over Buckner. No. Jonathan Allen absolutely should be. Yeah. Jonathan Allen. What if we had a top 20 NFL top 100 player?
Top 20
NFL 100 player?
Yeah.
That means we'd have to win a Super Bowl.
I don't know about that, but yeah. Double check the NFL.com site, and yes, those are accurate.
All right. I thought that the first half of the list, I felt every year kind of came out a little quickly, and we knew kind of ahead of time how many players were going to be on there. So we'll see as it goes. I'm interested. Doug, it sounds like you're right here. Payne won't be there.
Yeah.
He's not going to be there if Buckner is chiming in the list in the 70s. Jonathan Allen better be. If Jonathan Allen's not, and Terry McLaurin's our only player in the NFL top 100, I'm looking forward to next year when there's like 5 players on this.
You can't go from 88 and have an all-pro year. Again, not a Pro Bowl year, an all-pro year. Did he have an all-pro year? Right?
we were saying he had an all-pro year, but no, I do not believe Jonathan Allen was an all-pro.
I don't want to mislabel.
He was a Pro Bowler, though.
Okay, but still, you can't have as good a year as he had, and he was 88. You don't fall off the list. You don't fall.
I mean,
just
unless somebody else outperformed him.
No all-pro.
I mean, there's guys that dropped crazy. You should see some on this list. Like Dalvin Cook went from 31 to 91.
Oh,
that's what happens when you don't have a great year.
Yep.
Or Mark Andrews went from 32 to 80.
Yeah.
Right? That's a huge drop. Why? Because he didn't have a great year. Well, Jonathan Allen had a great year. He's not going to drop more than 12 spots.
Yeah.
That he did.
So he's definitely gone up.
All right. Well, we'll see where he does land, and we'll see next year whether or not we have more players or players that were on the team but elsewhere, like Chase Young, as Kevin predicts will be on it next year. We'll see how all that goes. We will be back tomorrow with your Daily Commanders update at 7:30 Eastern. We're live every Wednesday, but we provide you content Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. As you can kind of see behind me, my area is in disarray. That is my TV in a box.
Nice.
So I will not be with the gentleman for the next couple days, but I will be back, and we have a big announcement that's going to happen next week that I believe might be the biggest announcement show-wise that we've had. So we'll see.
I believe
we'll
you
see on
are
that.
correct.
Because the last biggest announcement we had was when I joined the show, so that was, you know.
This is a pretty big one here, but make sure you hit that like button for us, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you again live next week. But until next time,
What?
I got nothing.
guys, you got to get better about that.
I wasn't
Off-season, I don't
prepared.
know.
All
Be
right,
a
here,
fan.
wait, do it again. Do
No,
it again.
you've lost it. I've already said the words. Be a fan.